Today I'm going to show you how I've been sewing these crochet patches onto thrifted jackets. These patches are all made with my free and paid patterns and are all made in half double crochet so they work out quickly. This is a perfect upcycle idea, great for markets, gifts, or just to customize an old item and get more love out of it. The video example uses a koi fish patch from the graph in my koi pond pullover pattern. The umbrella girl is from my vintage kitchen sweaters pattern. The no smoking symbol is from the adventure sweaters pattern. The soda logo is also from the vintage kitchen sweaters pattern. The Gudetama graph is from the lazy egg pullover pattern, and this kid's jacket uses mushrooms from the Oh My Fungi cardigans pattern. And you can always purchase graphics on their own as add-ons from autumnolive.com. So for today's example, I'm going to be putting this koi fish patch onto the back of this red jacket. This was a Cherokee brand coat that I found at the thrift store. I just did a couple quick modifications. I cut out the original tag and put my own brand tag in there. And on the back, there was one of those belts just from here to here, so I cut that away. So I knew that I was cutting off the belt, so I wanted my patch to be at least that wide. So I want to make sure when I'm pinning it on, it is wide enough to cover up where I cut away those spots. And then as for height, I don't really want it to run into this seam, so I'll probably just do about right there. Seems good. There's about equal distance from the patch to the bottom and from the patch to the top. And then I'm just going to pin around. Lucky for me, this coat has a grid already built in, so I won't have any trouble keeping this straight. So I want to cover up that spot. And that puts me right at about this line. And also while you're pinning, you want to make sure that any tails are getting tucked up underneath there. You can fully weave in the tails, especially the corner bits, but you don't have to worry about how the back looks so much. You also want to make sure while you're pinning, if your jacket has this double lining, just make sure that you're not pinning it, onto itself or getting any kind of bunching up or anything. Here is the back with the fish graphic pinned on. And here's how the inside looks. I had a couple spots where the lining was bunched up, so I repinned it in those areas. And now it's time to sew it on. So first off, the bobbin color is what's going to be on the inside of the coat. So you could really do any color, but I'm going to go ahead and do a red bobbin to match the majority of the inside of the coat that I'm going to be working with. Although one of these contrasting colors would be really cute as well, like a green or dark blue on the inside. On the outside, I'm going to look for a color that's similar to this one. Yeah, this is probably my closest bet, so I'm going to use this as my top thread. Okay, so I'm going to get this bobbin in place and get this top thread in place. And I'm going to set my machine to a straight stitch. With all the previous jackets I did not have this scalloped edge. It was just a straight edge, and I would work about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch inside the margin. and so I would just do a straight stitch all the way around, and there would be a tiny bit of excess on the outside of the seam. Now in this case, because I have these scalloped edges, I'm going to try to work right along the scallops. I'm going to go ahead and get the jacket into the machine down along the lower edge of the patch. You want to make sure the fabric is in one layer, you're not seaming the sleeves or the front layers of the jacket. So I've got everything lined up. Make sure the presser foot is down, because with both of these layers, when the presser foot is up, it seriously looks like it's down. So be sure to do that step. So I'm just going to drop my needle, and then I have to do a few stitches in reverse. All right. And you're just going to straight stitch along the edge of your work. Sometimes it tends to want to bunch up the crochet fabric, you know, as you're going in, but you just want to keep a steady hand on it and make sure that the top layer with the crochet fabric is feeding through as well as that bottom layer with the jacket. Sometimes the crochet may get caught in the presser foot, so you just want to go pretty slow. If the crochet does want to get caught on the presser foot, you can just make sure the needles drop down in there before moving things around, and then you can lift the presser foot and kind of fix that snag and make sure the presser foot's down before you continue on your way again. When you get to a corner, you want to make sure the needle is down, and then you can lift the presser foot, and then you can turn your work, and then just drop your presser foot back down and continue on your way. May get a little bit tough as you are working across seams and stuff in the jacket, but you just want to slow down and, you know, maybe tug it a little bit at the back. Just make sure that nothing's getting caught. Go slow. Okay, so here I am coming to the ends, right where I began. So I'm just going to finish up that seam where I started, and then I'm going to do a few back stitches to secure it in place. And then I can lift my work out of the machine. There's the final look. I think it's super cute. Adds a little customization to this cool textured but otherwise very simple and plain jacket. Definitely tag me if you try this on any of your jackets. I'd love to see all the endless possibilities that can be done with this.